Hey, hello everyone, welcome to my channel Relationship Stories. Today, one person is asking us, am I an idiot for showing monster to my boyfriend? But before we give our judgment, let's hear the story from her side. This happened a little over a week ago and I still feel bad about it. So my boyfriend has a bit of a hobby collecting knives, switchblades, butterfly knives. He's pretty proud of all of them. Now, I have a small phobia of my own. My father was very abusive, and of the few memories I have of him, he was often threatening me and infanting me with a switchblade. As such, I am very comfortable around them. My boyfriend will often point his in my direction, and when I get upset and tell him to stop, he says I need to get over it, that I might need to use one someday. That I should know he had never hurt me. I guess he feels like if he exposes me to it enough, I will learn to trust that he won't stab me with it. But it's not like I think that to begin with. I'm just uncomfortable around them. Well, he is a very intense phobia of a specific monster. I don't question it. For some reason, it's much more intense than my mild annoyance breath-stopping moment at the blades. He completely freaks out, even just a picture shuts down, has nightmares for nights. If there's a chance of one showing up in video, he will whimper and whine and either stop it altogether or close his eyes and ask me to tell him when it's over. I promised him early on that I didn't find it funny like some of his friends do and would not use it to prank him. Well, the other night, after cutting some cheese with his stupid knife, he tried waving it at me, knowing how uncomfortable it makes me. So I pulled up a particularly horrifying image of his phobia on my phone and shoved it in his face. How does it feel? You know what a phobia is like, right? Just get over it. I tried to paraphrase him and he got really upset. I feel like I may have gone overboard and honestly feel guilty, but he has not messed with me since. My opinion about this issue is, Obi, it's understandable that you feel guilty about what happened, as it seems like you acted out of anger and did not handle the situation in a productive way. It's not okay for your boyfriend to dismiss or belittle your phobia, and you have the right to set the boundaries around what makes you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. However, retaliating with an image of his phobia was not a productive way to communicate this. It's important to communicate with your partner in a respectful and constructive manner, and to work towards finding a solution that respects both of your feelings and boundaries. It may be helpful to sit down and have an honest conversation about how each of you feels about the other's phobia and how you can both support each other in managing these fears. If you find it difficult to have this conversation on your own, consider seeking the help of a couples therapist to facilitate communication and provide guidance on how to navigate these issues in a healthy way. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, "Not an idiot, somewhat overkill, but you have explained how you feel and he refused to yield. I am into weapons, have a small collection of prop swords and daggers. Never would I point them at someone, even if the blade is dull and made of rubber, it could hurt. Trust me, having an eye poked with a little dull plastic knife designed for acting is as bad as having it poked at with a switchblade. Both could damage the eye permanently. It's not about him wanting to stab you, it's about him accidentally stabbing you. He is not responsible at handling his knives, he could even hurt himself. Break up with him, he is immature and selfish. You deserve better, OP. Keep that in your mind." Our friend too said, "Everyone is an idiot here. Your boyfriend is a prick for doing that. And I agree in theory what you did, especially since he was not listening to you when you just asked him to stop. However, what pushed it over from not an idiot to everyone is an idiot here was how you described the relative reactions to exposure. He completely freaks out even at just a picture shuts down and has nightmares for days, whereas your description was a general nervousness and shortness of breath. I have experienced the feeling that you described for your boyfriend, and it is something I would not wish upon anyone. I think most of the people who are saying not an idiot have not experienced that kind of lasting terror before, and it shows. While I think your method will probably get the point across and stop the behavior, but it was still an idiotic thing to do. Story 2. We have been married 6 years, have one son together. Wife has a childhood friend slash brother who was abandoned by his family after coming out, and my wife's family took him in when he was 13 or so. He lived with them until he turned 20 and lives on his own now. My wife considers him her brother, very close. I met him and he is an alright guy. I have no opinion either way. They don't hang out often anymore, so obviously I don't get an opportunity to hang out either. When my wife and him were in their late teens, he expressed interest in having a child via surrogacy. My wife volunteered that when she is 30, she will do it for him. This was never mentioned to me during our marriage, and I only found out 2 weeks ago. She just turned 30. When she explained it to me, I thought it was an empty or idle talking shop kind of thing, but she insists she is very serious. She asked my opinion and I am 10,000% against it. We are family now and this would be a major family decision. She ignores me and continue talking to him about planning it, looking up clinics, doing research, etc. I have endured a week of this and it feels like a knife in the back constantly throughout every day. I'm thinking of threatening divorce over this. I don't want to get divorced, but I'm hoping it will do the trick and she will rethink things. Will I be the idiot for doing this? My opinion about this issue is, OP, it's understandable that you feel upset and betrayed by the fact that your wife did not mention her promise to her friend before. However, threatening divorce might not be the best solution to this problem. It's important to communicate your feelings to your wife and try to come to a compromise or a solution that works for both of you. It's important to consider the potential implications of having a child for her friend and how it may affect your family. You may want to discuss the situation with a therapist or counselor who can help you navigate this issue and come to a resolution that works for everyone involved. In any case, it's essential to approach the situation with open and honest communication, respect for each other's feelings and opinions, and a willingness to work towards a solution that is in the best interest of your family. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Not an idiot. If the threat is not an empty one and you would actually intend to divorce her if she proceeds with the plan, in that case you are simply communicating a boundary. You are not willing to stay married to her if she chooses to be surrogate for her friend. And personally, I find that to be a reasonable boundary. She is then free to choose whether doing this for her friend is worth it, being fully informed of what the consequences of either choice would be. However, if you would actually follow through with a divorce if it came down to it, then everyone is an idiot here. Because making empty threats to try to get her to make the decision you want her to make is manipulative and a bad communication. Our friend too said, everyone is an idiot here. While it's her body and you don't own it, this is still a major decision that affects you. She should have at least made you aware of this agreement before you got married, so you could have decided whether it would be a deal breaker for you or not before building a whole life together. But now you are in the situation that you don't want to be, and you are not handling it well. Threatening to divorce because you think she will change her mind when you don't actually want to divorce is pure manipulation. If you actually want to divorce because this issue is a deal breaker for you, then do it. If you don't want to divorce, then it must not be a big enough deal breaker and you are manipulative as if you threaten it, hoping she will fall in line. Pick a direction, OP. And if you want to work it out, get into marriage counseling, please. Story 3. Since I have had a bank account, it's been in a joint account with my mom. Growing up, this was not a bad idea because if I needed money, she could always just put money into my account, no problem. But now, I'm currently 25 and moved out of the house and to the other side of the country when I was 21. Since then, I have been self-sufficient. Now, it's common for my mother to say things such as, I see you are spending more or you are not saving money as much. I usually just shrug it off and say sure, okay, or it looks like you were charged extra for whatever expense I have monthly. I can understand she is just looking out for me, but I do look at my outbalance history and I know where my money is going. Today she called me 5 times in a row while I was working just to ask why I had 2 different car insurance payments within 15 days. I got pissed off because it felt like she called me for was because she was snooping on my balance history. I angrily told her that I am taking her off the joint account because I cannot stand that she keeps calling me about how I am spending my money. She ends up crying and hangs up. Am I the idiot here, guys? My opinion about this issue is, OP, I think you feel frustrated and want more privacy when it comes to your finances. Especially now that you are self-sufficient and living on your own, it's your money and your account. And you have the right to manage it as you see fit without constant interference from your mother. However, the way you handle the situation may not have been the most diplomatic. Instead, you could have calmly explained that you would like more independence and privacy when it comes to your finances, and that you will be opening a separate account for yourself. That being said, you are not necessarily the idiot for wanting to take control of your finances and set boundaries with your mother. It's important for you to be able to manage your own money and make your own financial decisions without constant advices from your mother. It might be worth having a conversation with her to explain your reasoning and try to reach a compromise that works for both of you. Now we will see what our friends think about this issue. Our friend once said, "Not an idiot, but I recommended going through a different bank entirely and getting your own account. Not only does your mom still have your information, but slips have happened much more than we had liked to admit with banks. You don't want that woman anywhere near your cash, especially if that controlling behavior could extend to her taking any portion of it." Our friend too said, "Not an idiot, it sounds like an overreaction on her part. Her helicoptering is not going to be helpful and just aggravates you. Besides, she does not need access to your account now that you are established. I will say, consider her feelings though. She does care about you and is trying to look out the best for you in her own way. She clearly loves and cherishes you enough to try and watch out for you in your adult life, even if it is a bit annoying."